It was a quiet Saturday morning after a foot of fresh snow blanketed the neighborhood. I just brewed a cup of coffee and was gazing out the kitchen window at the untouched white canvas when I decided to fire up the snowblower. What should have been a peaceful ritual turned into a full-blown confrontation. My neighbor Eleanor peering through her curtains, accusing me of casing the street, then dialing 911 on me for simply clearing my own driveway. Officers arrived, I stood my ground, and the entire block watched as entitlement collided with reality, and justice ultimately prevailed. So if you like stories like this, like and subscribe for more. The air was still and heavy, almost reverent, the kind of hush that follows a big snowfall when every sound seems amplified. The hum of my refrigerator, the creak of floorboards, even my own breathing felt louder. I love mornings like that, a blank slate, a chance to carve order into chaos with my snowblower, a big red beast my dad helped me choose when we first moved into this house 6 years ago. I layered on thermals, fleece, a sturdy winter coat, wool socks Sarah gifted me at Christmas, my insulated boots, gloves, and a worn black beanie from college. Stepping into the crisp air felt like stepping onto another planet. I rolled the machine out of the garage, primed it, gave it a firm pull, and it roared to life perfectly. Dad always said, buy quality once, treat it right, and it'll outlast your mortgage. Today I was carrying on that tradition. I started at the garage end of the driveway, slicing smooth stripes toward the street in methodical passes, down, pivot, back up. The snowblower spit a 20-foot arc of powder safely onto my lawn, well clear of sidewalks and neighbors' property. It was meditative. Engines rumble, blades scraping concrete, a simple task in a complicated world. But halfway down, I felt that familiar prickling at the back of my neck, the sense of being watched. I glanced up. Across the street behind pristine white curtains stood Eleanor. Her arms were crossed, her posture rigid. She wasn't casually observing, she was zeroed in, charging me with her gaze like I'd snuck onto her land. I own this house, 112 Hemlock Lane, and she acts like the whole block belongs to her. I paused, held her stare for a moment, then turned back to the snowblower. No disarming waves, no performative friendliness. I pay my taxes, I own these bricks, and I'm not here to appease her prejudice. But the peace shattered. Each time I finished a stripe and pivoted, her silhouette drew focus. It felt invasive, like she was assembling evidence of my supposed crime. My rhythm broke. The engine's roar seemed harsh now, the wind biting sharper. A few passes before I could ignore her, her front door swung open. I killed the engine. The sudden silence was deafening. She stomped onto her shoveled walkway, bundled in a puffed white coat that made her look like an oversized snowman, her blonde hair whipping free. "Can I help you?" she asked, venom dripping from her tone. Not may, but can, as if I needed permission to exist. I tipped my beanie. "Just clearing snow, Eleanor," I said evenly. "My father taught me long ago, never let them see you sweat, never feed their narrative of the angry black man. Calm is a weapon they can't use against you." She squinted. "My property line ends at the sidewalk," she said. "You're on my street." She paused, head cocked. "I don't recognize you." I took the bait, my voice even drier than the frozen air. "It's Marcus, 112, across from you. Sarah and I moved in 6 years ago. Got Gus, our golden retriever. You gave him a treat last summer." Her eyes narrowed. "That machine is loud." "It's a snowblower," I replied. "It's 9 o'clock on a Saturday. The city allows landscaping equipment after 8 a.m. I kept my tone neutral but factual, my only concession to her script. Her face flushed red. "I don't like your tone," she snapped, the classic pivot when facts fail to serve. Tone! Of all the weapons she could have wielded. I gestured back at my driveway. "I'd like to finish, if you don't mind. It's cold out." Turning my back was a choice. The conversation was over. I reached for the pull cord. "You're not turning your back on me!" She shrieked and sprang off her porch, trudging across the street in her boots, stopping at the driveway's lip. She planted her feet, fists clenched. "Who are you, really? What are you doing here?" I drew myself up, my voice low. "I live here. You're on public sidewalk. Now get off my property." She laughed, sharp and cruel. "Your property? I doubt it. I'm calling the police." Her phone came out, gloves fumbling the screen. 911? There's a threatening man on my neighbor's property. He refuses to leave. Every word was her performance, a premeditated lie. I reached into my pocket for my phone, hit record, framing her at the edge of my driveway, snowblower and house behind me. She saw it. Annoyance flickered across her face, but she doubled down, shrieking into the phone. Moments later, sirens wailed in the distance. Eleanor's smug smile confirmed what she believed. The cavalry was hers to command. She puffed up as the cruiser turned onto Hemlock Lane, lights dancing on the snow before halting squarely between our homes. Two officers stepped out, one older with gray hair who looked world-weary, one younger and sharply uniformed. Eleanor ended her call and marched over. "Thank God you're here. He threatened me, refuses to leave." She jabbed a finger at me, white-knuckled with righteous fury. The older officer raised a hand. "Ma'am, let's hear all sides first." His gaze swept the street. Neighbors at windows, Mr. Henderson next door leaning on his shovel, the Patels just inside their yard, a couple with a beagle paused mid-walk. He understood this wasn't a simple domestic dispute. Officer Chun, the younger man, approached me. "Sir, what's going on?" I lowered my phone but kept recording. "I was clearing my driveway. I live here. Marcus Thorne, 112. Chun glanced at me, then at my license I produced carefully. "You live here?" "Yes, sir." My tone stayed steady. She came out accusing me, not the other way around. Eleanor sputtered. "He's aggressive, threatened me." Sutton cut in, eyes fixed on her. "Ma'am, witnesses say you approached him on private property and yelled. Misusing 911 is a violation." The threat stunned her into silence. Then Mr. Henderson, in full neighborly glory, shuffled over. "Officer, I'm Arthur Henderson. I saw everything. Marcus here never raised his voice." She came onto his driveway screaming. His testimony, unsolicited, carried the weight of 20 years on this block. Sutton exchanged looks with Chun. "Understood, ma'am," he said to Eleanor. "We're filing a report against you for a false emergency call. You need to go inside now and not leave until we're clear." Her face drained of color. Her husband Jeffrey opened his door behind her, shoulders slumped. They retreated wordlessly into their house, door clicking shut. Silence fell. The street's rhythm returned. Shovels scraped driveways, kids' laughter elsewhere. I thanked the officers and Mr. Henderson, the adrenaline still pulsing in my veins. I restarted the snowblower, finished the driveway and sidewalk, his and mine, then tucked the machine back into the garage. Indoors, Sarah met me in the kitchen, worry etched on her face. "Are you okay?" she whispered. I nodded, words catching in my throat. She called the cops on me for shoveling. I closed my eyes, took a breath, and let the tension drain. Over coffee, I replayed the window stare, the escalation, the lie, the police, Mr. Henderson's defense. What if he hadn't been home? I asked. What if those officers weren't reasonable? The possibilities were chilling. Our home, once a sanctuary, felt vulnerable again. But then came the quiet solidarity. A few days later, the Patels dropped off a single malt scotch and a card. "So sorry you endured that. Grateful you're our neighbor." Small gestures that mattered more than any words. And a letter from the HOA arrived, reminding residents to use 911 responsibly and warning of fines for false reports. It was clear whose actions inspired it. Eleanor and Jeffrey listed their house not long after. No farewell waves, just movers loading trucks in the rain. The block resumed its friendly hum, now with a new family next door. Doctor, teacher, kids, beagle, already part of the morning shuffle. I still feel a twinge when I head out with the snowblower, an echo of that day. But I also feel the deep roots I've grown here, the neighbors who saw the truth, the quiet network of respect. My dad used to say, "Hold your center. Let the waves break on your calm." That morning on Hemlock Lane tested everything I knew about fairness, ownership, and community. But as the storm cleared, so did the clarity of who stands with you and who leaves with the first sign of trouble. If you'd like more stories like these, please like and subscribe.